my friends stand by me only if I'm right. I come out of triple darkness just to see the light. If I say it once, I guarantee I say it twice. If they want me, I ain't going out without a fight. In my dreams, I'm a killer, but for God, man. Try to play it cool, but it's getting hard, man. Rolling with the real and death to all the frauds, man. Not too many of me, yeah, it's kinda hard, man. In my room, sitting in my room. Know they waiting on me and I'm coming soon. Never been a sellout, never been a coon. Y'all be on the camera acting like I'ma show them how true and independent get it. Whole game changed by the time I'm finished with it. We about to get this business handled in a minute.
Welcome to the B2M podcast. We're 5 black men who have been friends for over 40 years. Between us, we have a total of 13 children, including 12 sons. We've been married for over a combined 100 years, and we're here to talk to you about our journeys into brotherhood, fatherhood, conversations about culture, life, and all things black and brown for the positive. So I'm the Wavo Black. I'm joined to my right by John J.G. Yates, Talik Wynn. We got Waki over here, and my man Jay Moo. JG, what we talking about today, bro?
Hey, someone emailed a simple topic that happens regularly. What happens when her son got cut off the team? Don't think that the coach likes
sports team.
Yeah, cut off the basketball team. Son is upset, disappointed. Don't feel like the coach don't like him, and you know how to handle her son's frustration and disappointment.
So coping.
Yeah, coping.
Okay. Coping with disappointment and success. Right. Okay.
So that's what we're talking about.
Yeah.
All right, cool. Let's go.
Yeah. So in this particular thing, it's we talking about sports and basketball, right? So let's attack it that way, then we can carry it over to other parts in that life. So what would you tell your son why if he didn't make the team?
Oh man. Well, the first thing, my first question to him is, did you give it your all? You know what I mean? We're gonna start with that. You know what I mean? And here's the number one thing that I always try to convey to my sons or anybody is do not blame anyone else. I don't want to hear you talk about nobody else. If you didn't make the team, it is your fault. All right? I don't care why. Maybe he cut you because you're black. Maybe he cut you because you were short. Maybe he cut you because your attitude stank. It don't matter. You know what I mean? If you did not make the team, you need to take it upon yourself to say, this is 100% my responsibility and no one else's. You know what I mean? So we're going to start with that.
Okay. Accountability.
Yeah, accountability, man. You know, when you look back, and not just, you know, whether it be my son or anything, that life lesson is an absolutely crucial component to developing young, healthy, responsible adults. You know what I mean? My son has a business where he, you know, provides transportation to a lot of people. And I'm not gonna, you know, talk about anyone specific, but there's a common theme that I hear a lot of times when people may be going to, you know, methadone clinic or wherever it is. And the common theme is accountability. Everything is someone else's fault, man. It is amazing. Everything is somebody else's fault. And so when you have people who oftentimes are struggling, you can hear that in their language. So-and-so didn't do this, so-and-so didn't do that. And so I'm just like, we're not going to do that.
Let me do this though, because really, not to diminish the
addiction and all that
the
stuff.
importance of getting cut from the basketball team, right? But that's really, in terms of coping all together, it speaks to something larger because, yeah, you got cut, okay. Right. But no, let's talk about this. Let's talk about the kid that communicated to you, I really want to make this team, Dad. It means the world to me. I'm talking about this side of it.
Yeah.
Okay, what I need to do, Dad, to make the team?
Yeah, well.
You need to work on your dribbling. You need to work on your dribbling. They work on their dribbling. You need to go to camp. They go to camp. You need to dribble when nobody's watching. You need to always have a basketball in your hand. You need to put up 400 shots. You need to do this. You need to do that. And you're going to put yourself in a position to make it because you believe in them, right?
Yeah.
And then when it happens and they get cut, it's beyond the question of what do you say to them. It's when we talking about coping, they're crushed.
Yeah.
They're destroyed on the inside. Like, they're like, I don't even want to play sports anymore. I don't even know why I'm here.
Yeah.
right? And I'm not
right.
alluding to suicide, but to them,
I know.
it's a traumatic experience. Is that the same approach that direct is your fault?
I will take that approach, yes, because whether it's yours or not, I want you to believe that it is, because I always want you to feel empowered that you can do something about it. Okay.
Good
So I
point.
want you to feel
Science, too.
empowered. You know what I mean? That you can do something about it. But then let's just talk about what we got to do to fix this. But more importantly, don't worry about that. I'm gonna talk about, like, man, life is, from now until the day you leave this earth, life will always be about the roller coaster.
That's what I want to see if we were to pull out
The
right
ups
there.
and the downs.
Yeah.
And when you are down in the valley, you're not gonna always be down in the valley. And when
I
you
cut
riding
you
on
off. Can you
top,
say it again? Life is always. Well, say that again.
it's about the ups and downs.
It's a roller coaster.
It's a roller coaster. Life is a roller coaster. You're gonna lose family members. You're gonna get job promotions. You're gonna have new people, babies born into the family. I mean, all of that stuff. Life is about disappointment. You may get fired from jobs. So we're gonna take this situation with football or basketball, and we're gonna use it to extrapolate it out over through the course of your life,
Right.
because you're gonna experience this again. And I
Right.
want you to come back to this experience to help you handle how you move forward in life. And so
Right.
when you know that when I'm riding high, I'm not gonna always be high. And when I'm down in the valley, I'm not gonna always be down. Just hang in there. Stay positive. The one thing I tell all the kids that ever play for me is that I will only ask you for two things. Two things. I will never ask you to make a shot. I would never ask you to get a rebound. I would never do anything. I will only ask you to have a positive attitude and give me positive effort. Give me great attitude and great effort. That's all that matters. And the reason those are the two things, because I know you can apply that to any part of your life moving forward.
Right.
Your job, your family, what your spirituality, whatever it is, that's what I need you to do. And so attitude and effort. And now when that disappointment hits, hey, we're gonna work on your attitude. We're gonna work on that. That's what we're gonna focus on. Having a right positive state of mind. The mindset is everything.
Yes.
Mindset is absolutely everything. All the time, I don't want to get into it as long, but it starts with your thoughts.
Got you.
It starts
Got
with
you.
your thoughts.
So we take it to basketball and we say, okay, and to this person that wrote in, the message is you can't, talk about the coach because you need to accept some accountability. And we're going to talk to you about life's ups and downs, the reality of life, that we all come to learn that after ease, there's difficulty, and after difficulty, there's ease until you die, right?
I was sitting here just thinking
You was
about
thinking about the same
yes,
thing, right?
Yes, sir.
And then, and so if we take it outside of basketball, we get a little deeper into some emotional challenges, because it's not just about a sport. It's I'm coping with being rejected by my peers. I'm coping with
Especially in middle school.
Nobody
Yeah.
likes me. I'm
Right.
coping with people keep picking on me because my nose is big or because my ears are big.
Or because my co-host's not cool.
Or because I'm poor.
Right.
So what does the messaging look like to Leak? Like if you had a situation where Tyreek was going through that and people didn't like him, right? Other than us saying, well, we probably would have been told, bump them.
Right.
What would you do in a situation like that?
I'm just gonna build him up all at home, man. Love all over him. Show him examples of, where you strong in these areas at. He doing something. I'm giving him small compliments and just building his trust, building value and stuff like that. Just watching TV with him and taking scenarios off the TV and applying it to his situation and life and sports and in general like that. And just constantly, I'm putting more powerful words in him than anybody at school could ever discredit him. So I'm going to overpower him with positive words, love, encouragement, and, encouraging him to do better and stuff like that. That's how I'm going to approach it.
Got you. Got you.
And then I'm also gonna hit him with some scriptures, right? Scriptures in the Bible and stuff. So I'm always gonna hit him with just the natural situation, and then I'm gonna hit him in the spirituality as well. So I'm gonna try to give him that balance.
Teach him how to build his faith.
Exactly.
Mhm.
So
You building his identity.
That's
I'm a
right.
child of God, and
That's
that come
right.
before anything.
that's right.
As far as like you say, whether middle school or high school, or I'm known as a ball player, I'm known as an athlete versus a drama or a choir person, whatever
Right.
your thing may be.
And I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. I'm gonna give him all them type of scriptures and build him up, you know. And then I'm gonna also tell him that, hey, you know, Jesus had his own issues, you know what I mean, and how he overcame them. And I'm just gonna show him all kind of levels of that, and just boom. Hey, they try to beat you up at school or out there in the workforce. I'm gonna build them up. Keep on going out there and get them again. Get them, and then he gonna hear more of me than them. And then he know as a parent, he can believe in, you know, our values and move forth.
The one thing that's important, and you just made me think about it, is oftentimes when kids have rejection or disappointment like that, what's more devastating to not being on the team or not making the team is they actually believe they disappointed their parents. They believe they disappointed their parents. So oftentimes parents miss the boat. You didn't make the team. But you know what I mean?
Make it a big
but
deal.
but
Right.
if you do what you're talking about,
Right.
now you know the kid know I did not disappoint my dad or my mom or whoever, you know what I mean, and why I didn't make the team. That right there amazingly can get you over the hump more so than anything else, because they worried about disappointing their parents.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
JG, what you think happens when a young person deals with the rejection or the disappointment, and then the parent co-signs it?
Oh wow.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like that's the other side of it.
They
Like,
add fuel to the fire.
yeah, they
than-
like, yeah, that coach, I'm going up there.
Oh God.
What happened? What does that do to the child?
Right. Again, it goes back to the accountability, right? And
Uh-huh.
make sure that you're not accountable, that you don't, you know, certain things we control, certain things we can't control, right?
Right.
And so that's putting the impetus on the coach, on society, on people around you rather than yourself, you know?
Right.
And so that it makes them not responsible in my mind. And the first thing, you know, when you brought up the question that I thought about was like, in life, the life lesson is we can do everything right and stuff still go left sometimes.
Oh yeah.
You
Oh,
know,
yeah.
and so but do right anyway.
Right.
you know?
Right.
And so that's the lesson, you know. So even if using this basketball example, even if you did prepare properly, you know, you did all the things you're supposed to do and didn't make it, that's the lesson. And so in life, you're gonna run into obstacles, right? And so just do the right thing regardless. And like I said, man, you said it excellent, bro. When you build them up like that and they know who they are, you know, they not always trying to fit in with this particular clique or that clique, you know. And it's huge, man. You building up that confidence.
Yeah, love all over them.
Yeah.
Just pour all your love into them. Yeah.
And then help them realize that, or at least what I tried to instill in my youngest, and I usually refer or reference him because again, I think that's when I did some of my best parenting. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But to just drill in him, and it's funny that you had started getting into a spiritual piece, was that, you know, the way I try to look at it to him and show him in that part, or the scriptures where it says, ye are all God's children of the Most High God. And so I just try to pump into him that look, man, you are God, a God, not the God, but
Right.
you have the potential to be a God.
Right.
You know, being that you study enough whereas you study and understand yourself, having knowledge of yourself enough to be confident in those times, in those disappointments, and or when you mention the successes, to be humble at the time that you are successful, and be humble. So I try to give him both that balance of bouncing back,
Yeah.
you know,
Definitely.
knowing that he needs to come, you know, just, hey, don't give up. You know, what lesson is learned, what can be learned from it, you know, not to just be so disappointed and discouraged to where you know, that you just keep on going anyway.
Yeah.
And so I think that did help him. And I'm trying to think with my son Michael and my older boys, you know, it was probably when they were older though that I still could be able to, you know, offer them, because of course they can still be disappointed even as young adults.
Absolutely.
Man, I
You know, and
got
things.
A
And
whole
so-
lot of disappointment.
I got a
Yes.
fresh one, man, and it's ironic that a mirror image. My oldest son is here helping us with the production today,
Absolutely.
and it's a freshman. So if he get mad on me by the time we get back to Maryland, we be all right. But so he was he's in the media production field. Master's degree in media production, bachelor's, working at a government entity right now, and had an opportunity to advance, to move up. And so interviewed well, did all of those things. Hey man, I think it's gonna happen for you, bro. You know what I'm saying? Looking good, moving through. They gave him an assignment to produce something, right? Video or something, and it went in his junk mail. Unbeknownst to him.
Oh,
They
wow.
call him back like, hey, what happened to the video for the finished application product? What video y'all talking about? Check his junk mail, it's in the junk mail. Hey, it's in my junk mail. They probably like, yeah.
Sure.
He
Right.
tried to send the
Right.
screenshots, all that. Hey, I can do another one. I do 2, no biting, right?
Darn.
Come to find out, a lot of the people there liked him, and that was the thing that caused him to lose an opportunity where he was about to level up in a nice financial way, right?
Right.
Not that he's not good, but he was gonna level up. Wanted it bad, and this we're not talking about no children. This grown man
Right,
stuff, right?
yeah.
And so he hit me up and told me the story, and immediately as a parent, you crushed. Like, come on, man. You the first, because our first initial thing is, why is life doing this to me?
Yeah.
Right?
Come on.
And he didn't say that, but I'm just saying that's our feeling. Why me? Why this happened to me? And I was talking to him, man, and I just reminded him I heard a Farrakhan speech. I was 19 or 20, called The First Law.
Right. Oh my
Right?
gosh.
And he said, and this is powerful no matter what people's religious positions are. This is universal law I'm about to talk about, right? He said, when you think, he said, God, essentially, I'm paraphrasing, will shake your life up so that you're reminded to stay on the journey to him, right?
Mhm.
He said, when you think you know, he'll shake the foundation of what you think you know. When you think you have it under
Yes.
control, he'll bust up your control.
Yes, sir.
He said to rattle
that
you
line.
and shake you so that you'll keep on the journey, because we can't stop nowhere. It's an evolutionary progress to perfect ourselves, right? So in these situations where we talk about coping, that's the only thing. In the moment, all I could say was, bro, check this clip out real quick.
Right.
Do this for me.
Yeah.
Right.
Because I can't say it no better than I heard it said. You understand what I'm
Right.
saying?
Yes, sir.
Right.
It's
Minister.
because it's a journey.
Yeah.
And we don't know why that you got cut. We don't know why it went in your junk mail, right? But we do know that if you stay focused, and that's what the journey is to him, is if you stay focused on what you were doing and being a good person, your reward always gonna be double. And it's hard to understand and accept that when you in the moment of the disappointment. But it's the long game, right?
Right.
Absolutely.
And that's all I'm trying to say is, so in that for the 9th grade player, yeah, you know what? Michael Jordan got cut.
That's always a good reply.
Yeah,
ain't it?
yeah, right? Where everybody
Yeah.
use that one, but yeah, you
Yeah,
know
that's
what?
always a good
Man,
one.
I fell down too, man. Let me tell you what happened to me.
Right.
Because we're all, like you said, we're all going to experience disappointment.
Right.
It's a roller coaster ride. And so you're focused on the journey. So the journey is, in your journey, you didn't make it this time. You got rejected this time. But you know what? If you stay focused, I promise you that life has shown me as a 51-year-old black man, you're going to win.
That's right. Come on.
And it might not even be in a way you know, but you're going to win, and so-
Absolutely.
I
Man,
gotta-
I
go
was going to say, and just to piggyback off of that, my man Inky Johnson always likes to say, I hear Inky when he says, you can never be married to the outcome. It's more about the person you become in the process. Don't be married to outcomes. You know, if you put in that work, if you put in those shots, if you put in that work, look at the discipline you're developing. Look at the character you're developing. Look at all of these other attributes that you're developing because you tried out for that team.
Right.
Look at the humility you're developing. You know what I mean? And that alone is why we even tell our kids to play sports, because of the character and the man or woman that we hope they will become because of all of these lifelong lessons
Right.
that they learn through
Yeah.
the sport.
Yeah.
And so we definitely have to remind our kids, don't you be married to the outcome, whether it be your report card or whatever it is. If you put in the work, you put in the time, you developing these
effort.
characteristics, that's really what this is all about. You
Yeah.
know, my man Tony Bennett, Virginia basketball coach, has a quote that I think he may have gotten it from his father, but he said, because I know what's truly important, it allows me to enjoy the things that seem to be important.
Mm.
You know what I mean? And so because I know that spiritual journey that you
Yeah,
talked about,
yeah.
you're supposed to be on a journey to me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So now, if you understand that, it can be okay to enjoy a basketball game,
Right.
to enjoy a football game, to enjoy a movie, or whatever it may
Right,
be.
right.
You know, the things that seem to be important, but we know what's truly important.
Yeah.
And that journey that we on as individual people is what it's really all about.
Yeah.
So
I got a story about my son. I titled it "The Passionate Journalist on a Mission." And my son is a young journalist, and we were covering an event, a boxing event to be exact. And
Vegas?
my son,
in Atlanta.
Oh, Atlanta.
yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
yeah, oh yeah, in Atlanta, we was covering a boxing event in Atlanta, and I told my son, you know, of course whenever he going through stuff, I'm 9 times out of 10 I'm there, and I'm coaching him along the way. And so he on a mission, and he see the celebrity that he spoke with, and the celebrity was the real deal, Holyfield,
Okay. Yeah.
right? And he said, "Holyfield, can I get an interview with you?" Holyfield was like, "Oh yeah, sure, go ahead," like that. So
It ain't
he,
sound like that though.
yeah.
Yeah, I know.
He said, "Yeah." Nah, exactly
Oh,
right. So anyway, needless to say, Holyfield
That's
said
a
yes,
bill,
right?
Yeah.
right. Holyfield said yes, right? So he like, "Dad, you know, grab the camera." So I'm like, "All right, cool." So I grab our stuff, and when we get over there, is security, like Holyfield, like in VIP section, right?
Mhm.
And when we get over there, it's security there, right? And Tyreek, my son, started perceiving to walk towards Holyfield, and the security did like this to him, right? And Tyreek, he said, "What are you doing? Where you headed to?" Like that. And Tyreek said, "I'm getting this interview with Holyfield," like that, right? He said, "Holyfield not doing any interviews right now." "What do you mean?" Right? Like that, right? And he said, "Holyfield not doing any interviews." He said, "I just talked to him, and he said I could interview him."
Wow.
So let me tell you, let me describe this guy. This dude makes Shaq look like a little kid. Shaquille O'Neal. This dude is huge, okay? This dude look like he eat tractor trailer tires for breakfast, right? And my son want to boss up, okay? And so he like, "No, I'm getting this interview." Holyfield said it, like that, right? And so Tyreek takes one step and the dude takes another step. Now, my son and I are very short, right? My son and myself come to this man hip. This is how tall this man is, right? And I said, I'm standing there and I'm listening. I say, "Son, calm down," like that. "Nah, Holyfield said I could interview him, right?" And I said, "Son, calm down, man." I said, "Look," I said, "Sir, Holyfield said, yeah, my son can interview him, right?" This is how tall this dude is, right? Man, so I see my son gradually getting very frustrated. And I say, "Son, look, step back, I got this." And I say, "You know, sir," I said, "my son said that, you know, Holyfield said he could get in." He said, "Holyfield not doing anything." I said, well, thank you, sir. Appreciate your time. And I went on. This is not the fight. You got to pick your battle. This one we going to lose. This man going to headbutt us. This man meant business. And so the lesson when I was telling my son, right, I told my son, I said, listen here, son. And I was, now this is the conversation. I got to tell him about the world, okay? I said, there's good cops and bad cops, right? I said, Holyfield got an image, right? And he can't go around, and I really don't know the whole situation, but I'm just trying to explain some real stuff to him, right? I said, he can't go around and making his fans mad, right? And so naturally he gonna say yes, right? And his security, they already done told, we're not doing any interviews, we're not signing no autographs. I will take pictures. That's the rules, right? Or whatever, I don't know. But I'm saying, and so I had to have this conversation with him because he was extremely disappointed. And, you know, Holyfield gave him the commitment. He's like, well, he not Holyfield. How you gonna tell me? You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And so he was very disappointed. And that's why I say a young journalist on a mission, and that really speaks volume. And at the same time, I gotta understand and teach him that in this industry, you can't step on just anybody's toes. You know what I mean? And there's a way to conduct yourself in this industry. And it's a professional industry and stuff like that. And so what I was telling my son was, you know, it's gonna be okay. You know, sometimes we win, sometimes we lose. But this ain't the end. We'll catch Holyfield anyway.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
You know?
And so
We
like
see
you
him all the
said,
time. I know it's an opportunity,
I
but
like
we
the
catch
point
him.
you just made because out of everything you hear, it's hard for somebody when they're upset to hear you say, this ain't the time. And yeah, it was the time. All that Holyfield.
Right.
But I think it was the powerful thing you just said was, we'll catch Holyfield again.
Yeah.
Right? This is not over today. Like, so whatever somebody dealing with, you got another shot.
Absolutely.
As long as you breathing, you got another shot.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So
yeah, and using what Holyfield was doing, so he can't say Holyfield is a butthole.
Yes.
Holyfield bodyguard was the butthole.
Yes.
You know what I mean? So
He was doing his job.
right,
though.
right, exactly, right.
Right.
But the persona,
he really
his
wasn't a
image,
butthole.
right?
Correct.
He's not.
Right.
But Tyreek
Your
is not
perception.
gonna walk away saying Holyfield a butthole, like you said about James Harden. You know what I mean?
Oh man, he ain't tell like that.
I just want to know what
Yeah,
do you
James
think,
Harden was rude, man.
if
He
you
was
hadn't
rude.
intervened,
He was rude.
What do you think Tyreek was going? He was going to push past the man, huh?
Man, it was
Shout out to
I
Tyreek
seen,
on the Move TV, baby.
I seen him, man.
He was
and,
on the move.
You know, the thing is, man, you sometimes you're not there to intervene
That's a
with
fact.
your kids, man.
Yeah,
It might cost them their life.
yeah.
You know what I mean? And so, I mean, this is just real stuff, man. And so I think it's a blessing that I spend a lot of time and I'm always, you know, somewhere in, and then I can always point out stuff. You know, every time we moving, it's like a movie, right? And we, guess what? It's an opportunity for me to let him know when I see a serious situation and point it out and to make reference to, just in case that situation come again.
And you're not there, right?
Hey,
When I'm not
Talik
there.
just raised the stakes a little bit in the discussion, though, because he said it can cost you your life, right? So when we talk about coping at that level, right? Because you got situations you can run in that's violent or dangerous, right? So when you talk about it at that level, when we talk about coping, what we really talking about is controlling your emotions.
That's right.
Right.
Right? So in a situation where we talking about as they becoming into men, right? We talking about life and death scenarios and some things with some serious implications. So how do we not deal with the fact that they got to cope after the fact? Because we talking about the scenarios just now. We talking about what you do afterwards. How do we build them up to the point where they have an emotional intelligence enough that coping doesn't become an issue and they are able to think logically in some very critical situations? Like, what do you have to do to build that?
Well, one thing, if you just watch the news in a major city, you know, there are several examples of somebody losing their temper and control, you know, and, you know, I mean, in major cities, man, people just turn the TV off because you know, you become numb to violence. And it all stems from levels of elevation.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And not being able to package and put that stuff in perspective. You know, and it starts young. You know, you got to get a grip on it. And you know, the beauty is, you know, when you spend a lot of time with your kids, you can identify stuff. And I seen that it was going somewhere because I looked at him and I seen the expression on his face and I was like,
I
whoa,
don't know this dude.
man, get over there.
Yeah.
You know, he's grown, but I'm his father. Man, get over there. Let me take care of this. You know what I mean?
But you know, the flip side to that is, you know, the law of polarity. There's a negative side to every positive side.
Correct.
You know what I mean? And so the positive was he has the energy and the tenacity to go get that interview.
Right.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
So you don't want to
Like,
quell that.
yeah,
Right,
exactly,
right.
exactly. Because the flip can also happen where next thing you know, you got a kid that's scared and don't want to say
Can't
nothing to
never get an
nobody.
interview.
Would never get an interview. So you gotta remind them about teaching them that there's another side to that. That same quality that's great that allow you to get the interview is the same quality that can get you hurt. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
yeah.
And so now let's know how to identify that.
7'1", 325.
Yeah.
Don't force the interview.
Right.
5'8", 155. Push past him and get you.
Now I got another scenario, just like my brother was explaining, the time where you pull, you know what I mean? Super Bowl was in Atlanta, right? We were covering the media up into the Super Bowl, right? So we in the room with Tom Brady, right? And all the New England Patriots players, right? And that was when they were playing John's favorite team, the Rams, right? And my son was and we in the room with the big boys. I'm talking about all your favorite networks, they there, right?
Mm-hmm.
And my son is he been in the room before, right? And his movement is not the same. And I pull him to the side. I say, what you doing? He said, Dad, I'm trying to get the interview. I said, let me tell you something, son. I looked at him. I told him, I said, look, you got to be a shark in this business, okay? I said, you need to get it together, right? And you need to go get some interviews right now.
I don't care if that is ESPN over
Right?
there.
Next
Right.
thing you know, he's sitting face to face with Tom Gurley. You know what I mean?
Todd Gurley.
Todd Gurley.
Todd
You know what I
Gurley.
mean? And he's sitting there getting the interview. So he was like, and I can't think of the other lady that was standing beside us. You know, she was big time or whatever. But I was just telling him, I say, this is what it's all about. And you need to represent and you need to make a stance. And man, he was right there with Grump and all them big boys. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And he was getting the interviews.
So which one happened first, Holyfield or this? I'm just curious.
That this particular story happened first, and then the Holyfield story happened later.
Mm-hmm.
This story happened when he turned 18.
Okay.
He's 22 now, but for the viewers and stuff. So yeah, so it was one of those times where
So
you
that
kind
may-
of give them both sides.
So that may have helped when you did when you pushed him for the Brady piece, and you kind of gave him a sense of not aggression, but an aggressive spirit to go after it. Prepared him for that Holyfield piece, and then you almost feel like you create a little monster there.
Yeah, right. He was confident, right?
Yeah,
And
with a
we-
certain confidence.
What I hear a
But-
lot
Balance.
of this is the preparation, right?
Right.
When we raising our child, preparing them for the wins and losses, right? You never,
Yeah.
you're not as good as your best victory, not as bad as your worst defeat, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And another old saying is, when you're going through hell,
Keep going.
keep going.
Yeah.
By all means, keep going.
Right.
Don't just
Hit the
stand there.
gas
Go
pedal.
through the storm.
Exactly.
No, I'm in hell. Burning up.
Sitting there.
Exactly. By all means, keep
I'm
going.
gonna take this opportunity to remind you all that the B2M Crew podcast. We're at the Code Building. Shout out to the Code Building in downtown Charlottesville, Virginia. It's a co-working space with a bunch of it's a beautiful facility, a lot of rooms for you to use and come get your co-working needs in, special meeting needs in. And also want to shout out Bald and Beautiful. We got the products for
Got it right here.
all of us bald and black men. You know, we can't keep it all up top. Joaquin he's rocking the merch over there. Bald and Beautiful VA on IG. And you can reach B2M at B2M Crew. I mean, B2M on IG and also on Twitter. So what I just heard just now was a combination of stuff. Is like coping is not just how you get past something. It's also trying to figure out when and where to pull up and fall back or push forward hard in terms of trying to reach your goals. One of the things we haven't talked about yet, though, is, you know, we talk about coping with failure a lot, though. We got a lot of issues, though, out here with handling success.
Yeah.
Right?
Yes.
Like coping with success. So you got a situation where somebody experiences success and all of those, and we know people always say, you know, your fall can be deeper than your high, right? You know, what goes up must come down.
For
so
sure.
what's the best thing to teach young people about handling success?
Humility, bro. Humility is everything.
Yeah.
Humility is everything. And I always like to use like when we were all teaching our kids how to ride a bike.
Mhm.
All right. And you know, when you teach your kid how to ride a bike and they on the bike and they pedaling, you know, and then all of a sudden you're behind them, but you holding the seat. And they pedaling, they think they killing it.
Yeah.
But really you holding them up.
Right.
Because you don't want them to wreck yet. You know
Yeah,
what I mean?
yeah.
Eventually you're gonna let them go, they gonna crash. You know what I mean? But sometimes in life, man, we are still holding the seat for our kids, and they don't realize it's being held for them. And so they
Good
can
point.
start to get arrogant,
Yeah.
you know, and obnoxious. You know what I mean? And they can think that their successes are all about them.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
And so it's very important to be on them about being humble. I don't care what it is. It can all be taken away in an instant. You know
Yeah.
what I mean?
Amen.
We just saw DeMar Hamlin have a heart attack on the field.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? God bless all the people that prayed and he was there and the people who were there to help him. But in a moment's notice, just like that, gone. You know what I mean? I remember I was on the beach one day and the old dude was telling me about how he used to, how his father, every time he would look at his father when he would leave the house, his father would just look at him and go. He's like, man, what does that mean? He said, next time, he's like, all right, Dad, I'm leaving. Son, before you go. And he like, okay, Dad, you done that enough. What does that mean? And his father says, real simple, son. You can have the world in the palm of your hand. And just like that, it's all gone.
Mm.
And don't ever forget that.
Who was this again?
You know what I mean? Just an old dude I met on the beach.
Oh.
And I don't even remember his
Wow.
name. Yeah.
Wow.
You call an angel sometimes.
Yeah, right.
Like,
Exactly.
you know
But
what?
I just
Yeah.
remember that message. And so I have always tried to remind my sons to be humility, to be humble. You know what I mean? And have humility. Because, you know, Lord giveth, Lord taketh away.
The world
You
will
know what I
humble
mean?
you. If
Yeah.
you
The
don't
world will
humble
humble you.
yourself,
Whatever's going on, if you don't respect it, it will make you respect it eventually.
Hey,
You know what I
yeah,
mean? So
yeah.
you have to have a humble spirit and understand that because you having success, it didn't have to be you. It just happened to be you.
Yeah.
There's a difference.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Say
This
that
ain't
one
have
again.
to
It
be
Yes,
you.
yes.
Have to
Say it
be
again.
It
you.
didn't have
happened
to be you. It just happened to be you.
Wow.
You know what I
Wow.
mean?
Yeah, yeah.
God could have blessed someone else with this opportunity.
Chosen one.
You know what I mean? And so your success is a byproduct of everything that's going on
yeah,
around you.
yeah.
And to be humble, don't think it's all about you, man. It's a lot of people at work. 90% of the decisions that are made about your life will be made when you're not in the room.
True.
Do you get that job at LinkedIn? That decision is made when you're not in the room.
Yeah, yeah.
Do you get that promotion? You know what I mean? Do someone invite you to an event where, you know, good things can happen, a conference, whatever? These decisions that are made about your life will be made when you're not in the room.
Yeah, yeah.
A college decision. Your son just got accepted to 3 universities. He wasn't in the room when that decision was made.
Yeah, yeah.
What was there, though, was his reputation.
Whoa.
Hey, John, what about y'all remember the Coach Carter movie?
Oh yeah, we just
You-
watched that the other day.
Did you? Yeah.
we just
Look,
watched that the
man,
other
it's a great
day.
lesson. I remember too catching him when you remember when he came up to UVA?
Absolutely,
We all took
absolutely.
the boys up there.
Yep.
Yeah. But one part of the movie we always joke about was the youngin was tying his shoe. They had balled out, was arrogant. we the ish.
Yeah.
He came into practice and was like, "Woo! I tied my shoe. I did that. Look at that knot.
I call that
But
play.
I called him, man.
Yeah.
He was putting on. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like,
Right.
I did that, right? John, I'm asking you, right? You see your son acting like that, man. What's important for you? We know we talking about humility, but what's important for you to say to him when if you see a spirit like that? You know what I'm saying?
Right. To like you just said, to be humble, or the world will humble you. And you really want him. I want his confidence to be rooted in work ethic, right? But sometimes, like you say, we holding that seat and they think they holding it and they become arrogant. So man, you just got to peel back and let them know, bring them back down to earth, so to speak. You know, and
You can't punch him in the chest no more. You be like,
nah,
you need
nah,
to chill. You ain't all that.
you get one or two of them. You can't, you can't do it too much.
But I try to instill in mind really the center of it being the God, creator, whatever that belief may be for you, but letting him know that you wouldn't be or have whatever talent if it wasn't given to you, or you were blessed with that through the creator. And so when with the Quran and what it says, all praise is due to Allah or God. I try to operate in that way, and I try to be an example of that to him as well. If ever I was receiving, oh, you did a great job. Oh, but praise God.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I think that helps keep you in check with regards to humility, because
Yeah.
you're trying to deflect that praise, and if it weren't for God, I wouldn't have been able to do anything. So
Yeah.
praise God, praise God. And I know it seems a little, cliche, or just kind of, I don't know if it seems self-righteous to people or whatever, in the appearance, but I just try to give that credit to God as opposed to trying to receive it, because that's when you get the big head, when you think
Gratitude.
being
grateful.
known is a drug, right? You see these rappers or entertainers, right? It's a drug. Like you get addicted to
Like the
people
lights.
worshiping you,
right.
And the human being is not meant to be worshipped.
Come on now.
Right? So since we not meant to be worshipped, if we start receiving it and accepting it and don't put the praise somewhere, you're gonna have a mighty crash.
Yes, sir.
Right? Because the
Right.
love don't last long. You like, what have you done for me lately? You only as great as your last hit or whatever. And it's for a fact. This is what I heard all of us saying is, if you don't teach your child what universal law is, I don't care if you call it the word of Jesus, Muhammad's
Don't matter.
hadith, I don't care what you call it, right? Universal law means 100% of the time, if you act like an ass, you're going to learn your lesson.
Right.
100% of the time. If you're not humble, you're going to get humble. 100% of the time. And so when you, like you said, I like what you said, you redirected into something greater. Like, you know what? Man, you did a good job. Thank God.
Yeah.
So you sort of frame it for them how to think about this stuff. I like that.
There's a saying that says, fame is man-given, be thankful. Talent is God-given, be humble. And conceit is self-given, be careful.
Damn.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
Yo.
Good quote.
Hey, look, we
Those are
gotta
good
quote
ones.
him again. Let's quote Joaquin. Go ahead, Joaquin. Give me
It ain't my
People might want to
quote.
write that down.
I forgot it.
I forgot it.
He always had
He
his
might
one
want
of
to
these
read. Yeah, I
little
think he got a book, man. He just
I
studied
know.
before we
No,
get
I
in
mean,
there.
I read it somewhere. I don't know
we-
where.
yeah.
Somebody said it. I didn't
It
say
stuck
it, but
with you
somebody
though,
said
right?
it. But
Yeah.
it stuck
Y'all got
with
some
me.
great memories.
And that is a message that I did deliver to my children.
Yeah.
And that is fame is man given. Be thankful.
Yeah,
Talent is God given. Be humble.
yeah,
And conceit is self given. Be careful.
yeah,
And you have to always be extremely mindful of that. And if you can keep that perspective, it will allow you to be humble.
yeah.
And it would allow you to understand the ups and downs that's going to happen to you in life and that type of thing. So
Can we talk a
that's-
little bit about the impact of anxiety on coping? Right, because
Oh,
sometimes,
man.
sometimes, you know how they say, I know what I've learned over life, man. Sometimes you be thinking about something, man, how is this going to go down, right? When you're in a situation or you're back against the wall. And then when you get to the realization of whatever that day is or whatever that reckoning, like, man, that wasn't even that bad at all.
Right.
You created something way beyond what was
Mhm.
gonna go down with your own fear, your own anxiety. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, what do y'all think about that piece, man? Because being you already going into it, anticipating the negative or whatever. But a lot of your coping, when we talk about people coping, they have anxiety. They can't cope. They can't deal with it. You know what I'm saying? So,
Man, my thoughts on it are very controversial.
You what?
okay, I
You know what I
gotta
mean?
hear.
My thoughts
Yeah,
on it
I
are
gotta
very
hear.
controversial.
If we was
You
on
know what I
Drink
mean?
Champs, I take a.
Yeah, you got to take a
Let me
drink.
take a quick
And
shot.
I'm not gonna say it blunt in the way I normally would say it. You know what I mean? But like for real, man, like I got to clean this up. If you do not have some sort of chemical imbalance in your brain, all your anxiety is what you do to yourself.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? It's what you do to yourself.
Mm-hmm.
So if you got anxiety, you need to start learning how to control your thoughts. Okay?
Yeah.
Everything starts with your thoughts. Your thoughts lead to your words lead to your actions lead to your habits lead to your character, and your character will lead to your destiny. It
There you
starts
go.
with
There you
your
go, another one,
thoughts.
don't
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It starts with your thoughts. That's not
Yep.
mine. That's not mine.
No, I know
either.
it's not yours,
Yeah.
but I'm saying I know
You know
another
what
one
I
that
mean?
another great one that you
But
bring up.
for
that,
real, man. So if you are struggling with
Relevant.
anxiety and all, you need to start taking control of your thoughts. You know what I mean? And not letting your thoughts run amok, run wild on you. And next thing you know, you going down the spiral. We do it. It don't matter whether we on social media, swiping, whatever it is. You know, we all may be guilty of that. But when we start to spiral, we have to figure out a way to trigger ourselves to snap out of that spiral.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And so if we can teach
I
our
can
young
teach it.
people
I was about to
Real
say,
quick.
how to self-correct, you know what I mean? We can prevent a lot of that anxiety. Now, I'm no doctor. I don't know nothing about what I'm talking. That's just my own personal thoughts on that. And so I'm sure all the people that's taking medicine
Right.
cussing me out right now.
Well,
Well-
I got a little
just saying.
small tip, right, to help people. When almost equivalent, just a little small tip to get your thoughts in line, right? So if you're thinking of something negative, right,
Mhm.
you have to. If you think of something negative, you have to speak to it, right? And I'm talking about, it sounds crazy, right? You really have to give it life and say stop.
Yeah,
Right?
Out loud, verbally,
Right.
out loud.
So if we sitting here, we count to 10, right? And you tell me to stop.
Mhm.
Anytime. 1, 2,
Stop.
3. What happens? He cut it off. That's because of the voice activated. He cut it off immediately.
so you're basically saying your physical voice needs to cut off your inner voice. In
That's
some
right.
sense, in some way.
You have to speak it, and then you have to give it new life. But you got to be in tune to it. You can't just keep going on and
Yeah,
on and
some
on
people
and
don't
on.
catch themselves.
Right.
Wow.
So you gotta be able to catch yourself. And that's just a little small. I mean, you gotta do all kind of different tools, but that's just something that you can just do
Some
on your
people might
own.
wear a rubber band on their wrist
I
and
like
snap
what
it.
you said because we talking about building a toolkit for the kids. Like pull this out, use this because I know when you look at when we were knew we were gonna talk about coping. I was looking up coping a little bit, and they had these strategies you can use, and one of them is mindfulness, and that's why I brought up the anxiety because mindfulness is all about staying in the present. Let's deal with what's going on right now.
Right.
Don't because we add in all of those when you talk about we add stress and the people
that's
people on
manufactured.
medicine gonna be mad at me too, right? but my point is the first thing we do is, you know what, this happened to me last time. Now you adding a narrative to the story. Now you making it about cumulative stuff when you could just deal with what's right here, right now. We already know when you drive, all the analogies about and metaphors. When you drive, the reason why is a rear view mirror is for a reason. You keep it's
Smaller
behind
than
you.
yeah.
You can't drive forward.
Smaller than your windshield.
Yeah, you can't drive forward
Yeah.
if you stand looking in the past. So if we just deal with the present
Right.
and stay mindful of right now. See, right now means even in the situation of somebody getting cut, okay, you cut now. That's over.
Right.
What about right now?
Right.
Let's focus on the action we need to take. What do we need to do? And so, you know how they say the devil's mind is an idle, the idle mind is a devil workshop?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. a quiet, idle mind is also a place for negative seeds to grow.
Playground.
You know, it's a playground for the negative seeds. So that negative self-talk, man, I ain't, you know, they're victim. We become a victim, right? Man, he don't like me. I got cut. It keep on happening to me. So and then it gets to that dangerous part as a teenagers, and then we say, fuck it. I'm just gonna do me.
Yeah.
Right.
And then you
Now you
on
got
a
problems.
pathway.
You don't want that.
Yeah.
Once he don't care about what happened to you, because if he don't care about what happened to himself, he damn sure don't care about what happened to you.
Right.
Now you got troubles.
And I think it's like we supposed to share with our kids early on, age appropriate victories and losses.
Right.
You know, we have successes, we have failures, but we still in the game of life, the most important game, right? And let them know how to deal with that. And you're not alone. You ain't the only one. Somebody else done been through this and made it. You're not alone in whatever that you're dealing with. You're not the first person to fail at this or that, the other.
Right.
You know, we constantly failing, but we constantly growing, you know, and like you say, don't lose the lesson, you know, in whatever that you're dealing with and going through.
I think it can help too. Do y'all think it helps when you a parent and you can say, you know what, when they dealing with that disappointment, say, let me tell you what happened to me.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh,
Because
yeah.
our disappointment is way worse than the ones they dealing with.
Yeah.
My
in another situation.
My son, there's something always going on. There's something. I say, man, look, man, you know, when you almost 50 years old, man, you see a lot.
Yeah.
You deal with a lot, you know, so you got a lot of stories, experiences.
And sometimes he
Yeah.
probably looking at you now and be like, you went through all that, you
Right.
know, this,
Yeah.
that, the other, for real. That was your mentality at that time, or you know.
And then you can be honest though, because sometimes I'm like, man, I didn't know how to deal with that at that time.
Right.
I messed that all up.
I was about to say, what about those who may not have had that reference or experience to draw from? How should they? And then what thought came to my mind was, as I think we spoke of in in another episode, when you use whether it's entertainment, you know, movies, music, or something like that, that you know your child can relate to. If you can find examples of it in that, you know what I'm saying,
Yeah.
for those people, you know, for parents or whomever that may not have experienced, you know, that disappointment or differently.
First time they seeing it. Or something.
Yeah, they could use to try to find other ways to reference other people's experiences. Again, whether that's through fiction or entertainment or whatever else, or relatives or somebody that you know that you can use examples from. So I think that's just something to just add
Can
to.
I raise one question?
Yeah.
We got about 10 minutes again. I want to raise one question. I think this is important, man. In those situations, man, how dangerous is it, right? When we are like, to James's point just now, I think, do you know where I'm going, Joaquin?
No.
Okay. To James's point just now, we talk about we building them up, we doing all of these things, you know, giving them examples of the tools to use and all of that stuff, right? And some stuff happens, right? And there's nothing you can do but the parent, but just let them sit in it,
Yeah.
Prayer.
right? In that situation, man, and I just almost answered it because I'm like, what do you do when there's nothing you can do about it? Nothing you say really.
When you
They
can't
know the
speed up the
speeches.
process.
You
Yeah.
can't speed up the healing and all of that. You know, how resilient do you have to be as a parent not to overimpose yourself on their healing process?
Yo, man, like that's a real thing. And I just always use a real simple analogy because once again, I always like to use sports analogies. My son played football. He broke his arm like over the course, like 3 separate times. And the analogy I like to use is that when you break your arm, you don't go to the doctor, they put the cast on, you leave the office and your arm is fixed. It don't work like that. Go to the doctor, they put the cast on, you gotta wait that 6 to 8 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
There's no way
you
around
can't
the
rush
6
it.
to 8 weeks. There's no way around it. So when your kid is hurting and they gotta sit in that, you remind them that it's a healing process that has to take place. It's a healing
Rich.
process that
I
has
just
to
got
take
triggered
place.
by something.
You can't accelerate it. You can't rush it. You can't make it go away. There are no shortcuts. It's just what has to happen for healing to take place.
Right.
And so because I know that, it helped me as a parent watch them sit in the disappointment and come through the struggle. I know it's crazy when I think about like how these things impact us long term. I'm an athletic director and a coach at a middle school, right? Y'all know that.
Yes.
All right. I'm coaching basketball right now. It just dawned on me. Right now, I got 27 players on a basketball team. 27. You know why? Because we don't cut. You know why we don't cut? Because I got cut from 8th grade at Jewett. That's why we don't cut.
Yeah.
I got cut from the 8th grade Jewett basketball team.
That
Everybody
dictated
a
your
winner.
policy
Yo,
now. Oh, geez.
yeah, that
That's
dictated
good.
my policy.
I'm gonna ask you
years
how,
to
man,
come.
how you get minutes to everybody
Right,
another
right.
episode.
Oh, that's a whole nother.
45
But guess
seconds
what?
a game.
Guess what? Every single one of my players play every single game.
Oh,
Yeah.
wow.
Awesome,
Every
coach.
single one of them play
Yeah.
every single
What's y'all
game.
record?
Oh, we 4-1
Okay.
right now.
All
You know what I mean? You know what I mean? But like for real, man, like you think about like these moments that shape us and we don't even realize. I never thought about that till we sitting here right now. But I know I ain't cut nobody from the middle school team.
But with that, when you bring that up, what makes me think also is as what society has done, or in even the sports piece. Now, y'all know how it's kind of evolved or devolved, I would say. Whereas losers get trophies. What kind of mess is that? Or what is your stance on that? I know we're running out of time, but you know what I mean? As far as not discerning a clear, you know what I mean?
It's
Or what
co-
you trying to make, what you trying, it seems to me that society has tried to eliminate the
Yeah,
need to
you
cope.
don't have
That's-
to cope.
that's
Right,
why
you
we-
fix it.
That's
Yeah.
why we
You're
having
just
this
like this guy that
conversation.
won.
That's why
Right.
we having this conversation
Yeah.
because adults don't want to have a conversation with young people about disappointment.
Yeah.
So
Right.
you saying
That's the
losing
problem.
builds character?
If it's done in the right way.
Right.
You know what I mean? It's losing don't build character.
You don't get a
It's
trophy.
how you
just get a
handle
certificate.
losing that builds
That builds a
character. It's how you handle the
Yeah,
losing that
we-
builds the
we
character.
buying the parents.
'Cause-
What about now? I seen parents buy their kid a trophy.
You know what?
That's
Well,
real talk.
you better
and
buy them some successes when they 30.
Real quick.
We talking about Confederate
because-
monuments.
Here's one of the joints I can only draw from, unlike Joaquin with other little quotes, but it was from The Incredibles
Incredible.
when the little boy was like, what he said? He was dealing with, I guess, the fact that he was all fast and whatever the case was, and then I think he was, again, I don't remember the premise. However, what stuck out to me was when his mom tried to help him cope and said, "Well, baby, everybody's special." And he was like, "Well, Mom, if everybody's special, nobody is." You know what I mean? I was like,
Wow.
you know, if everybody's special, nobody really is special.
Yeah.
You can't just say that.
Right.
Yeah.
And so that was something real profound, even though in a
It was
Yeah.
an Incredibles.
Yeah, in The
Yeah.
Incredibles.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If everybody's special, nobody is. So he won't fall for that. He didn't fall for that whole, that type of way for her
It's
to try
just
to help
it's
him
just a
cope.
lazy way of not having a conversation and teaching your kids about dealing with and handling disappointment.
I
Mm.
got
You know
a
what I mean?
story, man. You made me think of it, Joaquin. So Jeremiah, his senior year, of course, playing football, DB at a very competitive school, right? The dude. So it's his senior year, his junior year. He playing behind this guy that went D1 to Maine or somewhere. Dog, you know what I'm saying? Senior year, my turn, right? Won the job in preseason. You know what I mean? Stuff lining up. Last day of camp, dislocated his elbow. Right? You out, like you said, ain't nothing you can do. 6 weeks. A ligament will not heal until 6 weeks.
That's right.
He come back,
Thanks.
man. Senior year, right? He come back, played one game. The second game he was back, the whole family there is senior night, right? I'll walk out on the field, okay? Second play on special teams or something, somebody don't get up, right? And I'm not thinking it's him, it's him. He won't even get up. I almost was just frozen.
Mm.
You know, when you been playing, you like, get up.
Yeah.
You know, you expecting him to get up.
I was always
He didn't
big on
get
that.
up.
Yeah.
People running out onto the field. By the time I get down onto the field, the man was like, his kneecap is over here.
Oh, God.
We just pushed his kneecap back. But you have to go take him, man. It could be an ACL, right? And I looked down at him, man, and my pain as a father, because of how much he wanted it, how hard he
Hungry.
worked. I said, I don't know what God got in store for you, but it's something great. You know what I mean? His coaches said,
You said that in that moment.
yeah,
Yeah,
I
that
did.
was-
Right on the
yeah.
field, I said that.
Oh wow.
His coaches, everybody was around me, and his coach told his brother the other day who was on the team, he said, your brother got the strongest soul I've ever seen in my life. Because we asked him, do you want us to put your kneecap back in place? Right? We ain't gonna talk about this shit and wait until I got down there. But he said, I trust y'all, to the trainer. Y'all do what y'all think y'all need to do. And they said, no pain medicine. They mush his shit back in place, put the immobilizer on it. The next day, I was like, he got to have surgery. All of this, torn ACL when we found out. And he said, I said, man, I feel so bad for you, man. I don't even know what to tell you.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? I'm hurting for you. And he said, well, you always told us when we was playing football, the most important play is the next play. So ain't no need me, crying about it.
Wow.
Right?
Yeah, that applies to
And
the
so
game
at
of
that
life,
moment,
yeah.
I was like, he's been taught how to cope.
Yeah. Right.
You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Sure.
Because I pointed him, like you said, through messaging. That's regular coaching. We all heard that. Don't worry about the last play.
Yeah.
But he relied on that lesson, like you said, you learned from sports. And he went through a long process to get back, man. Never play ball again. Won't even play flag now. But
Yeah. Right.
but to that point, it just reminded me of, if you teach them lessons, they got something to lean on, man. Beyond just what you say, it's a universal principle. And
that's
I know
why we
had
play.
to win. Yeah, and that's why we play. And so I just wanted to share that because that's the type of, if you build it, that's the type of response you could get from them in the midst of their trauma. You know
Absolutely.
what I'm saying?
Great
So,
point. Yeah.
Yeah.
For
That's
sure.
good.
And we
For
live
sure.
at the
Persevere.
Code Building in downtown Charlottesville, co-working spaces, the B2M Crew, talking about brotherhood, fatherhood after our 40 years of friendship, raising these 12 boys out of 13 children total that we have. Check us out on YouTube, on Twitter, B2M Crew. And Joaquin, you got something good to take us out with?
In the words of the great American Frederick Douglass, it is easier to raise strong children than to repair broken men.
That's a fact.
Peace.
All right, thank y'all.
And I won't stop until I'm winning. I'ma show them how true and independent get it. Whole game changed by the time I'm finished with it. We about to get this business handled in a minute. And I won't stop until I'm winning. They don't want me in the office cause I